Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mana, and I have the privilege of interviewing B.G. Jenkins on the author interview show today. And I have B.G. here with us. And hi, B.G. Thanks for coming.
Hi, Mana. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started writing and things like that.
I would say I started writing when I was in grade school. I had this. We had a great music teacher. We had a great. I think it was fifth grade teacher, and that year she was teaching us poetry. And I know you've heard this story before, but learning the poem Trees. I mean, I fell in love with it. Every morning we would go into her classroom and she'd sing songs with us, and she would teach us about poetry, and she would teach us about writing. And so it spurred from that.
Oh, well, that's good. So you've been doing it, quite a while, like pretty much like I have too.
Yeah.
So, all right. If I remember right, when I was looking at your Amazon account, I think you got like 8 or 9 books, something like that.
Yeah, I have 8 on there.
Okay, and you mostly write children's books, except for the one that you co-wrote with a couple of other ladies.
Yes, yes.
Out of
That's,
the, go ahead.
yes, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. Out of the ones that you've written, I know you've started writing, as a way to connect with your grandchildren and leave them something, that you did especially for them. Um, and I talked myself out of remember what my question was now. Oh, I hate when I do that. Oh, I know. Which out of all the ones you wrote for your grandchildren, is there any one favorite that you have, or?
I can't say there's a favorite, because with each one, there's a personal quality that comes from each grandchild. But my bestseller is my Cowboy True and the Texas Barbecue book. But and the very first book, the kids had most of the input on, with making up songs and things like that, and that's on Saren Chickadee.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, it's just mainly been around what the kids liked and what they wanted, and we tried to work it from there.
Well, I know I worked with you on quite a few of your books, helping you get them self-published. And I mean, I'm not a kid anymore, obviously, but I loved them.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm very grateful for that. You've been a big part in my writing career.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to help. Now, you've published both of your books, I know, on paperback and Kindle. But if I remember right, I've been usually doing the Kindle part, and you've been doing the paperback part.
Yeah, usually there's a couple that I tried to do myself in the Kindle Kids Illustrator, children's illustrator from Kindle,
Mm-hmm.
which they were okay. I had one come out okay, but still, even with that, I really need the Kindle training a little bit better for them to come out okay. So they're all right, but they're not as good as the ones you have done. So
Well, thank you. But I do plan on having some courses out this year of doing the paperback and the Kindle.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'll probably have you help me on that some and everything. So I'll get the feedback on all that. Okay. Are you one of the writers that like the actual pen and paper in hand, or do you do all on the computer? Or
I I do most of it with a tablet, with a spiral notebook and a pen, and you know how it is. Not that we're getting older,
oh yeah.
but yeah, sometimes when the hands start to hurt and stuff, then I'll go to the computer. But I don't know. That's just how I've always done it, and I've kind of habits are hard to break at times. I've just kind of always done it that way.
I never myself. I was kind of going off a little bit here, but I never really understood that because I've always pretty much used the computer or something like that. But in the last year or two, I can actually say I know what you mean about actually putting. I mean, it's like it comes out of your head, into your arm, down the pen, and onto the paper. And it does make a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it might be that, but it could just be habit too. But
Well, whatever's comfortable for
yeah,
you, right? Or, that's the way it should be. So, let's see. So most of your, like say, doing the kids' books and everything, there's not really a matter of a long formal outline or draft or anything like that. Mostly you've already got them made up, don't you? And
yeah, I kind of sometimes I have to now on the Cowboy True book. I had a lot of input. I had my daughter giving me suggestions, my sister, my friend, her husband with what could be included, and then when they told me things that they liked about it or thought would be cute in it, then I went from there and took those suggestions and added that in.
I know that one I enjoy working on too. So, have you ever thought about writing other types of books?
Yeah, I have. I'm starting to venture away from the kids' books a little bit now. I believe we'll see how that goes. You know how it is. The kids, they're enamored with it at first, and then they're kind of like, you know, let's go on to something else. So now they're not as thrilled with it. So I may go into something else. I'm kind of looking at that.
Yeah, they'll be glad to have them later on, though.
I
So,
hope so.
yeah, I'm sure they will. So, and let's see, we know your book or all your books are available on Amazon and Kindle. Do you have them available other places?
Actually, I don't. I've not ventured into the other marketplaces like I had talked about with you before. I really need to just kind of do like you do, just get in there and learn it. And I haven't done that. So yeah, that's another thing that I'll have to venture into to look into.
Okay, I know you had mentioned to me one time about putting in libraries. Did you kind of back off on that for a little bit right now, or?
I did. I took this wonderful course with a lady named Amy Collins, who's been a bookseller for many, many years, and she has a very good course on it. It was just at the time and with finances and everything, the Amazon was easier because with the going the other route, then you have to go through like Ingram Spark and have your have your books cataloged, and then have a PCIP, which is publishers. Yeah. Oh, PCIP publishers, something in print. Anyway, it's a document of what your book is and what it's about that the librarians can look at and see what's in the book, who the publisher is, and everything about it. So it's a little more expensive that way. And, when you're on a fixed income, you don't always have that money available. So you do what you have to do.
Exactly. And that reminds me too that when we get done with the interview, I have something I wanted to bring to your attention that I learned on another interview I did. So
Oh, great.
may help both of us. Your other book, you sent me a copy of it. And that's not it. The one that you had collaborated with some of the other ladies. I know I've got it here. I just don't
Yeah.
see it. How did that come about? I mean,
Well, my husband's cousin, I call her my cousin, and my friend Kathy, their two boys were in the military. And when Rita's son Jared was in the military, he was in Iraq, and that's probably been 7 or 8 years ago, I guess. We started forming a prayer group. It wasn't only with them; it was with our family too, because my grandmother and Kathy's grandmother and Rita's grandmother had all prayed for all of us. And so we were to that point where we wanted to, for me, it was reaching out to my family who our grandmother had always prayed for us, and one of my uncles, and just reconnect with the family and do a family prayer list monthly and pray for each other. So we started doing that. And then when Rita's son, Jared, was in the military, and Kathy's son, Ryan, was in the military, then we joined together and started praying for them. And we created a group called the Chord Sisters, and it's based on Ephesians 4:12. So, and it's talking about that cord, that one cord cannot defend itself, two can stand together, but a cord of three strands is hard to break. So that's where that all came about. And we wrote that, we wrote that one almost 3 years ago.
I think I remember reading that in my Bible within the last week or so. I don't remember exactly when it was, but that sounds very familiar. So, okay, I know you're working on or thinking about working on a book of poems. Have you thought any more about doing that?
Yeah, I believe I'm going to. That seems to be what I really like the best, is the poetry. That it keeps coming back, and I'm going to collect some of the poems that I've written and put it in a poetry book.
I love reading your poems.
Thank you.
Okay. So we know you're on Amazon and for the Kindle and the paperback. Is there anything about the actual overall writing process or the publishing that you would like to say, or?
I don't know. I just believe if you've got it in your heart, just sit down and write. I've, taken advice from you. I've looked at other people. I follow another gentleman called Barry J. McDonald. I've followed from you, Sharon Ryan Bidoff. Just different people, Jeff Goins. I just take those tips that they give me and go with it. But I think if you've got it in your heart, as you have said many times, just sit down and write and just keep writing. And then you'll make the sense out of the nonsense. And I believe that's your quote. Just keep writing until you make sense out of the nonsense.
I should write that down. I don't remember saying that, but who knows here lately. So anyways, we got cut off on the recording the other day because I'm still learning how to maneuver this webinar platform or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and see, we're almost at 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and end it now. So anybody, if you are interested in any of Brenda's books, just look her up on Amazon, and it's B.G. Jenkins with an S on it, the end of it. And especially if you got little kids and everything, I mean, her books are wonderful. My grandkids loved them. They loved it when you sent the manuscripts over for me to edit or do whatever you do.
Oh, thank you.
So they're, like I say, they're kind of outgrowing it now and everything, but they do remember it. So anyways, what we'll do is keep in touch with you. Of course, I always do anyway, but then we'll let the others know when you have your other next book ready, your poems and things like that. So, and maybe we'll have you on again after you get your next one released or something like that. So
thank you, Mona. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being such a good friend.
Well, thank you. I don't know what I'd do a lot of times without you too. So I'm happy that you're on here, and I'm happy to talk to you every day and everything. You inspire me in a lot of different ways. So
that's vice versa too.
Okay, thank you. And I will be talking to you later on. And everybody, let's go find them books of Brenda's and let's buy some. So we will talk to everybody later on. And
thank you, everyone.
Tomorrow with Leslie Federici, and she'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So, and I'll be sharing this video after we get done. So you have a good afternoon, Brenda.
Thank you, Mona.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.